What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Smooth Plays podcast. My name is Austin, aka Austin Plays. I'm joining once again from my man Dean, aka Mr. Smooth. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Primarily, we're going to be talking about this upcoming week 2 schedule, some of our predictions for week 2 coming up, and also a little bit of recap as to some of the things we saw in week 1, leading into the rest of the season. How you doing, Dean?
Hey, I'm doing good today. Ready to talk about some football, man. Let's
Hey.
go.
Yeah, the time we're recording this, it's Thursday. So, yeah, we're looking forward to tonight. We got the Bills and the Dolphins, another great primetime matchup to start the week off. You know, we got a treat last week with the Ravens and the Chiefs. And this is another game that I'm expecting to be another real close battle. Any team can win.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a good one here. You got two AFC East teams. Um, I mean, two really strong AFC East teams. Both these teams should be contending, or I'm expecting to contend. Uh, Buffalo had a tough one against Arizona week 1. Uh, they pulled it out. Josh Allen had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen's always going to look good, right?
Yeah, if anything, I think Josh Allen proved with the loss of Stephon Diggs, it doesn't really matter who you put around him. Like, he's going to go out there, he's going to make plays.
Yeah, I agree with that. Josh Allen he's a dog.
All right.
And what do you think about Miami?
Yeah, so Miami, Miami was a little bit of it was a weird one week 1, you know. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting. Well, I don't think a lot of people were expecting. Obviously, I think the stuff that happened off the field prior to the game starting with Tyreek Hill and everything potentially played a role. But, you know, I'm not worried at all about the Miami. I think they're going to be just fine. I think they'll, bounce back. That offense is going to be on track, and they're, going to be back up to putting up 30, 40 points a game in no time. So I'm not worried at all. I know Mike McDaniels is a great coach. He's gonna get his guys right, and Miami's gonna be fine. So all that said, Miami's favored at home 2.5 points. What do you take in here in this Thursday night matchup?
Teron Johnson, the best corner on the Bills, is out tonight, actually.
Okay.
And even with him playing, I'm still taking Miami, and that just gives me another reason to pick them. So I'm taking Miami in this one.
Yeah. So fun fact that I've been seeing all today, Josh Allen. You know what his record is on Thursday night primetime games?
I do not.
He is 6-0 in his
Oh,
football career on Thursday night. So stats don't lie, but I'm still gonna go against it. I think Miami is just they're gonna be too much at the end of the day. They got too many playmakers. Not to say that I think that Tua is gonna outperform Josh Allen because he's just better. I think that Miami is just gonna be able to pull this one out. At home, again in Miami, tough place to play. Prime time. I got Miami winning this one. I'm probably covering the spread as well at 2.5.
yeah, I like that. You
All
think
right.
Josh Allen falls to 6-1 in his career on
Six and
Thursday
one
night?
Thursday night. All right. Moving on into Sunday. All right, we got the Raiders and the Ravens in our early window. That's going to be the first of our early window games we're going to talk about. Um, yeah, we touched on it briefly. The Ravens coming off a real tough loss on the road in Kansas City. Literally Isaiah likely toe away from potentially winning that in a 2-point conversion from potentially winning that game because you knew they were going for 2 as soon as they got the touchdown signal. So they were going for the win, and anything can happen at that point. I think that was a very winnable game. That hurt. That's one that hurts to lose if you're Baltimore.
Yeah, that one definitely hurt because that's a team that if you are in Baltimore's shoes, that's the team that's done it. They've been there. They're the standard. That's where you want to get.
Yep.
And I mean, the good thing is that they were in that game, and like you said, they were, I mean, a toe away. And I'm sure they will play again. Those
Oh,
teams. I'm sure they will.
yeah. I'm looking forward to the rematch. I agree that they will most likely see each other. No pun intended, most likely, but they will likely play again in the postseason. And I can't wait for that matchup. Uh, Talking about the Raiders, what did you see from the Raiders week one?
The Raiders, I mean, it was a slugfest type of game, which I mean, you're kind of expecting out of this team, right?
Yeah.
Especially playing the Chargers. I mean, Chargers want to run the ball, and the game it was a tough divisional battle. Really, until the fourth quarter, the game was, I believe it was 13-10 or 16-10,
Mm-hmm.
and the Raiders punted on 4th and 1 in Charger territory, and then Dobbins broke off a big one, and the Chargers ended up winning it. So the Raiders look competitive, but we know, I mean, we don't expect them to be great this year by any means.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
they're 9 point dogs right now on the road in Baltimore, and yeah, we said this last week about the last time we had a 9 point favorite, but again, this is you can't really go against. I don't think this one is going to be very close. I think Baltimore is going to win this one big. This is going to be their opportunity to really, take out their frustrations, I guess you could say, as to what happened week one on a subpar Vegas Raiders.
yeah, so the Ravens last season after a loss, their average win margin next game was 17 points. So give me the Ravens, give me a blowout.
Yeah. All right. Uh, Cleveland and Jacksonville is the next game we're going to talk about. And Cleveland Browns, man, they looked like the Cleveland Browns that we've both grown up to know, just god awful when it comes to Sunday.
Yeah, they did look god awful, and it must have been disappointing being a Browns fan because I know their expectations were higher. But it is week one, so let's not overreact. But they did not look good week one.
Yeah. Yeah, they played a tough Dallas team, but yeah, never good to get blown out at home,
Yeah,
no matter who you're playing. So yeah, that one definitely hurts. Deshaun Watson, they got to do a better job of protecting Deshaun Watson, give him the opportunities. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is, bailed out like he played all right. He didn't play good. He didn't play good, straight up. But the offensive line definitely needs to protect him, keep him upright. Jacksonville on the opposition, Jacksonville looked really good for the most part. I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw from Jacksonville. They look like a team that is going to be able to, I'm not going to say play at a playoff caliber right now from what I saw, but they're going to be able to compete, keep a lot of these games against these higher top tier opponents and at least keep those games close and give Trevor Lawrence an opportunity to win on the game.
I will say I was a little bit disappointed in Jacksonville week one because I thought that they could win. I thought that was a very winnable game. Miami
Yeah.
didn't play
And
great.
that's what I was getting at is that they were, I mean, because it was a winnable game, that they put themselves in a position to be able to win.
They did. And a lot of teams can't do that because at Miami, people know that. I mean, the Broncos got 70 points put on them there. So,
Right.
yeah, the Jacksonville looks solid. So where are you going? What direction are you going in here?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to look at this one, honestly. You know, Looking at week one, I gotta kind of just push week one off to the side as, a one-off for Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is one of the best defenses in the league. Last year they were atop the league, I think, in points allowed. And I think that they're going to be all right. I think if anything, their defense does keep them in this game, keeps it close. Um, and I think Cleveland's going to, bounce back and take care of business in this one.
I like Cleveland bouncing back. I think this is a spot for them. People are down on them after a bad game. Let's just see how they look after a week of getting their feet under them a little bit. I
Yeah.
got Cleveland.
All right. So we got the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. Man, I don't know. I don't know what was going on with New York week one. Everybody was ready to see Aaron Rodgers go out and be Aaron Rodgers, and it looked like maybe the age had caught up to him a bit. And the season, complete like missing an entire season, I think might have played a factor as well. they just looked like they could never really get up to speed. They had that one drive in the first quarter where they went down and got 7 points. And from that point on, they just never really could get it going.
Yeah, I honestly think Rodgers looked okay for having the year off and being injured. I just thought as a whole, like I heard them say it, Saleh say it after the game that their offense just couldn't get in a rhythm,
Yeah.
which I know you don't like hearing
I
that
don't
because
like that because you can't say that your offense never had the opportunity to get into a rhythm when your opportunity to get into a rhythm is every time your offense is on the field.
yeah, I agree.
So, and on top of that, granted you're playing the Niners, so the Niners defense obviously one of the best in the league, but from a defensive standpoint, if you're in New York, you pride yourself on defense and you just let I don't what is it, Josh Mason? I don't even
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, exactly. Like I've never heard of this guy until like this week, and he's out here running all over. Like they got ran all over without their top rusher, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and Jordan Mason got in trouble after the game. I don't know if you saw
No, I didn't.
that. Yeah, he got in saying he claimed that he knew coach told him he was playing on
On
Friday.
Friday, yeah, I did see that. All right,
It's
yeah, crazy stuff. But I know fantasy managers are pissed. But all right, and then Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee's a meme. Will Levis. I keep seeing the memes of him surrender
with the
covering
Mayo.
on his knees after he threw that pick six at the end of the game.
Yeah, they're they go into Chicago and they lose up 17-0 without letting the Bears score a touchdown on
Yeah.
offense. I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say about this Titans team. I don't think twice. I'm taking New York.
Yeah, I got New York winning this one. I do think that Tennessee, can compete. They're 4-point dogs. But I think the New York Jets still win this one. This is going to be the Jets' opportunity to bounce back, not the Titans. Um, yeah, you can't losing to a team without giving up a single touchdown to the offense is going to be tough. Like you got if you're Will Levis, you got to take care of the ball there.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, New York's winning that game.
All right,
I think.
Niners and Vikings. So this game is one of the more interesting games I think we're going to get to talk about because of what we saw from Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings in Week 1. Sam Darnold started the game, granted against a sloppy New York Giants team, but still started the game regardless. I think 12 for 12 or 13 for 13, and looked incredible. Like he looked like the first round draft pick that everybody hyped him up to be, and everybody thought he would be when he was coming out of USC.
He did, and maybe he's just a late bloomer, or maybe he's just found the right place in Minnesota, right? We don't want to overreact to week one, but
Right,
he
right.
looked, like you said, he looked very good.
Yeah.
And he gets a spot. This is a spot for him and the Vikings to really make a statement against, I mean, the top of the NFC. They have been
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
while
Niners
now.
have been the top of the NFC the last couple of years. Team to beat necessary per se. Um, all that said, the Niners are still the Niners. They looked dominant against the New York Jets. I think that the Niners are going to go on the road here, do what they do, and uh, not necessarily a reality check. I think Minnesota is a good team. I think that they'll be competitors there in the NFC North, but they're just not quite at the level yet to match up with the all the power that the Niners got.
I do agree. I think Minnesota is going to be solid, but the last time these two teams played, San Francisco dropped one in prime time, and I don't think they're going to drop another one. I don't. In Minnesota, I got San Francisco winning this.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got the Chargers and the Panthers. All right, these are two new head coaches that are coming off of their Week 1 games. One win, one loss. And I'm going to start with the Panthers. Like, if I'm a Panthers fan right now, I'm going into red alert. Like, the first pass of the game from
First pass of the
Bryce Young.
season.
Yeah, first pass of the season. Like, not how you want to start it with an INT.
at all. Bryce Young did look like he was struggling, but also, to be honest, their whole team was struggling. You don't just lose 47-10 because your quarterback played
Right.
bad.
And it's definitely not 100% on the quarterback. But at the end of the day, yeah, football is a team game. You shouldn't be giving up 47 points. Like, you can't expect to give up 47 points and win the game, regardless. They could have put up, Jordan Love, or not Jordan Love, Bryce Young could have played the game of his life. It wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day because they still got 47 points.
Hey, the good thing is for Carolina is 16 teams are on 1-2.
Yeah. So looking at the Chargers look solid. Um, a Jim Harbaugh offense. They're always gonna be lean heavy on the run game. I loved what I saw out of J.K. Dobbins. Good bounce back coming off of another ACL. If he can stay healthy, I think he still has the potential to be a very serviceable, if anything, running back by committee. There with Gus Edwards. I like what I saw out of LA.
Yeah, LA, I mean, that's going to be their identity this year under Harbaugh, like you said. I mean, they're going to be a run first team. It's crazy because Justin Herbert is just so
Yeah,
talented,
he's so talented.
but he's not going to be wowing you with stats this year like he has in the past just because the way they're going to play. And I agree, J.K. Dobbins, if he can stay healthy, he's still got a lot left in the tank.
Hmm.
And I mean, they basically got the Ravens backfield. They got Gus Edwards too.
Yeah.
So I like what I saw of the Chargers early when I saw this spread at LA by 6. I liked Carolina as dogs at home, but it's moved down to 5,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one. What do you think?
Yeah, so usually when the line is moving down, it means that somebody in the books, they like what they see out of they're in this case they like what they see out of Carolina. Something about them is telling them that Carolina is going to cover 6 points. So I'm still going to go against that. I think LA is going to cover points. Carolina looked miserable, and I think that this LA team coming off a win, they're going to keep it rolling, and the Panthers are just going to continue to slip. I don't see them bouncing back in this one.
I'm gonna go the other direction. I'm taking Carolina to upset the Chargers this week, and they win their home opener. And everyone in Carolina takes a long and
Deep,
hard,
long,
deep
hard
breath
look, deep breath, and looks at the team is like, all
and
right, maybe we're not
relax.
screwed.
Yeah, the Panthers are winning this week.
All right. Next one, we got a Super Bowl rematch here. We got the Seattle Seahawks going into Foxborough to face the Patriots. Two different looks, obviously, when they were in the Super Bowl. But what do you got?
This is a pretty cool game because this is a matchup you don't see a lot. You know, two different conferences, and Seattle looked. I mean, they look pretty solid. Seattle's what I think, a 10-win team ceiling,
Yeah.
maybe at 11 wins if they can get hot. But I think Gino had a 35-yard rushing touchdown in that game.
Yeah.
And
And Gino
Tariq
he looked
Woolen,
mobile, like
yeah,
surprisingly
he
more
did.
mobile than he has in the past.
Tariq Woolen had 2 interceptions. I think, they go into, what do you think about the Patriots week 1?
Yeah, so obviously the Patriots, that was kind of the hot topic. They were 8.5 point underdogs, the biggest underdog of week 1,
And
and
they
went
won.
out and absolutely smoked the Bengals, who
Yeah.
I have winning the Super Bowl and had Joe Burrow winning the MVP. They embarrassed the Bengals miserably. Now, is that a credit to the Patriots being way better than everybody thought they were, or the Bengals just stinking it up week 1? I'm going to go with the latter and say it was more the Bengals, not really getting their footing, and no discredit to what they have in New England. I am a fan of what they're building in New England. I love Mayo as their head coach. He's going to bring a lot of the same stuff that he had with Belichick as his coach and Brady as his quarterback. He's going to bring a lot of that stuff into that locker room. And I think New England is going to be just fine down the road. However, it's week 2. They're coming off a big win. I think they get a reality check this week against Seattle. Seattle is going to be 3.5 point favorites here, and I think they cover that one as well.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think New England a big thing in sports, I feel like when a team gets a big win, sometimes their next game is just a letdown, right? And
Yep.
the Patriots are gonna play hard under Mayo, like you said. I like the culture he's trying to instill there. I saw Dante Hightower was an assistant coach for them.
Yeah.
And with all that being said, though, like you said, it's not going to be for another couple years before I think they really put it together. I got Seattle winning this one.
All right. So we're in agreement there. This is actually this next game should be a pretty good game. We got the New Orleans Saints and the Dallas Cowboys, who the Dallas Cowboys, like we talked about earlier, went out straight up dominated Cleveland on the road. And now they're coming home to Arlington, hosting the New Orleans Saints, who dominated, a division rival in the Carolina Panthers. This is two defenses that I have high expectations for. I think both defenses are going to be very good this year. The total points is at 46.5 right now on ESPN. I think this game is going under, and this is going to be a very close competitive game solely on the defense.
I do think these are two very good defenses, and who wouldn't love to see just like a smash mouth two teams just trying to go out there and physically dominate each
Well,
other
I'll
in
tell you who,
Dallas.
anybody that's betting the over.
Well, who knows what's going to happen? But Dallas in the regular season is so good, right? And I
Yeah.
just don't know if New Orleans has enough firepower against that Dallas defense to keep up with them. Regular season game at home, I'm taking Dallas, even though New Orleans looked impressive week one.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm still not a believer yet. They still got Derek Carr as their quarterback.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of Derek Carr?
I have to see more. Granted, he looked like he did in 2016 when he was getting MVP consideration, but again, that was 2016, and we're living in 2024 now. I think that time is long past. He might show it here and there, but he's going up against a very good Dallas defense. I think he's going to struggle heavily. All right, so moving along, we got another divisional matchup here. We got the Giants going into Washington to play the Commanders.
This is one that I think is going to be very high scoring, actually. I feel like when these two teams match up, it's just bad football, but leads to very entertaining, fun football,
Yeah,
right? So it's not, but honestly, these teams, Washington showed a little flash. They're young, at least their quarterbacks are, and they have a bunch of old vets,
yeah,
just filled in as like band-aids right now. But I like what I saw from Jaden Daniels in Tampa. He was running the ball, he was throwing the ball. It
yeah.
just seems like he's going to be a weapon in that offense.
Yeah, I know for me,
Um,
that was a big question as far as Jaden Daniels' running ability, how that would translate into the NFL. Obviously, he's not the most built, so he is susceptible to big hits. He was in college, so I expected that in the NFL. But I mean, he ran well. He proved that his athleticism transferred into the NFL. He's just as athletic, looks just as athletic, and is able to make these big plays on the ground like he was in college. So I liked what I saw out of Washington, despite coming up short in Tampa. I think Washington is the better team right now between these two. I think Washington is going to win this one.
I I think Washington is the better team, but I think we can both agree on these are probably two bottom five teams in the NFL this season.
Yeah, these are definitely two teams that we don't have high expectations for in the grand scheme of the whole season.
Yes, I agree. And with that being said, divisional matchup, I think Danny Dimes goes out there and plays a good game in Washington. But I want to tell you, I'm taking New York, and Devin Singletary scoring a touchdown this week.
Oh, wow.
I'm calling it. He's scoring a touchdown this week.
All right, so moving on, we got the Colts and the Packers, and barring, a Jordan Love injury, I think this would have been a doozy to watch. I think we got kind of robbed on this one.
Yeah, this would have been Love versus Richardson. Hey, don't forget about Willis versus Richardson, though. That might
Hey,
be a matchup as well.
I I don't know. Maybe his rookie year when he had all the hype, but after everything I've seen from Malik Willis in the NFL, I don't have any reason to believe that this game is even really going to be that competitive. I don't think that Willis is going to have the talent around him to kind of make up for his lack of arm talent. Willis might be able to make a couple plays on the ground with his legs, but at the end of the day, he's a quarterback, not a running back. He's gonna have to make plays through the air, and I don't know if he has necessarily the talent to make up for where he's lacking in that area.
So you like the Colts?
Yeah, I do like the Colts. I liked a lot, even though Indianapolis fell short week one. I liked what I saw out of Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson had probably one of the craziest throws I've ever seen in my life. Um, I got the Colts winning this one in Green Bay.
I think Green Bay as underdogs at home actually has some value. I
It
know Love
definitely
is
has
out.
value, yeah.
I also think that yes, like Richardson looked. I mean, Anthony Richardson over 200 passing yards week one. He had 9 completions,
Yeah.
so he uh he also had a rushing touchdown. So don't forget that. But I think LaFleur here. I think the Packers run a condensed version of the offense, and I think honestly they run the ball well. And I'm taking the Packers here, home underdogs.
All right. Okay, and then we got one more game in the early window. This is going to be my Bucks going into Detroit. Um, and let me tell you, man, I got the Bucks winning the Super Bowl now. No, not yet. I still have to see a little bit more than just week one. But Baker, Baker, I think if the season ended today, Baker would be the favorite to win the MVP after week one. He was definitely the MVP of week one in terms of quarterback play. And I think that, that gives Tampa fans a lot of hope and optimism for the rest of the year. And this is a big opportunity for them going on the road, playing a team where they're 7.5 point underdogs. To play a team that they lost to in the playoffs last year.
This is definitely a spot for the Bucks to make a statement. Like you said, this team ended their season last year. Um, this team also had a big win on Sunday night at home against the Rams, which was a great game to watch.
Yeah.
But they just dominated in overtime on the ground, David Montgomery, and ended up winning the game for them. With all that being said, 7.5 points. I think Detroit wins the game, but I think Tampa, their offense is good enough to keep it close.
Yeah. If anything, this is going to be a very high scoring game. And I think that 7.5 points is a little ridiculous. And I don't see how, as if I watched that game week one for the Bucks, and I don't see how I wouldn't be able to take 7.5 points. Um, I mean, I'm taking them to win outright though.
Their offense should be able to move the ball on Detroit a little bit. At least keep up a little bit.
Yeah. All right, moving on into the late window. First game in the late window is going to be the Rams and the Cardinals, who we just touched on. The Rams coming off a loss, playing Detroit. Um, Arizona coming off a loss, but Arizona looked good against Buffalo. I think that they need to get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved. Clearly, he had one catch for 4 yards, which is not what fantasy managers, any Arizona fans, nobody was really looking and expecting that.
Yeah, I am a fantasy owner of Marvin Harrison, and let's say I was a little bit disappointed seeing his stat line after the game. But week one, rookie game, he's a rookie first game. I think he's so talented and he'll be okay. They had him running a lot of deeper routes too that Kyler wasn't really seeing sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I know. I saw a lot of that one clip where Marvin was streaking down on a busted play
yeah,
and was wide open and just didn't get the ball, which would have turned into like a 30-40 yard touchdown at the end of the day. Um, all that said, I think Arizona looked at the film. I think they learned from their mistakes week one. I got Arizona winning this one.
honestly, in my opinion, and not just in my opinion, the last 9 games in Arizona, the Rams are 9-0 against the spread. I mean, 9 times. They only go there once a year, so this is dating back 9 years. Give me
Yeah.
the Rams. The Rams are winning straight up.
All right. Yeah, I did like, yeah, not to take away credit from the Rams. I did like what I saw out of the Rams. I think Cooper Cup is going to be back to, that Super Bowl MVP year, Cooper Cup, where he's just dominating. He had 21 targets. So I know fantasy owners of Cooper Cup are loving that. Um, Yeah,
Puka's hurt though.
Puka is hurt, so expect Cooper to get a lot of target share once again this year, at least while Puka's out. But yeah, Cooper looks healthy, and that Rams team, they are going to be competitive.
There.
Um, Moving on, still staying in the late window, we got your Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road into Denver to play the Broncos.
Yes, sir. The Steelers were one of two teams that didn't score an offensive touchdown, and actually both teams won, surprisingly.
Yeah,
And but their offense looked solid. They were actually getting first downs, and as a Steeler fan, seeing the Kenny Pickett offense, I was actually very pleased with the way it looked.
yeah. No, I agree 100%. I've always been a big Justin Fields guy. I think that Justin Fields still has, a lot of stuff to prove. And while he's the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, I hope to see him go out and prove all the haters wrong. I mean, you know me, I was saying that I would have loved to see the Bears with the number one overall pick take Marvin Harrison and give Justin Fields another weapon.
Yeah,
Ultimately, obviously, they didn't end up doing that, but I did like what I saw out of Steelers. That Steelers defense is gonna be a
legit.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna be a problem for whoever they play. TJ Watt looked incredible. I felt like every time I was flipping back and forth into that Pittsburgh game, I felt like I saw whenever their defense was on the field, TJ Watt was making a play.
making a play. He was all over the field against Atlanta, and that's exactly why I feel like Bo Nix first ever home start.
Yeah,
They can't move the ball a lot on this
yeah,
defense, right? Give me
no,
Pittsburgh.
yeah. I'm taking Pittsburgh in this one. Don't be surprised if TJ Watt gives Bo Nix a big welcome to the NFL moment.
I would love to see
Um,
that.
All right, moving on. We got an AFC matchup here. This is two teams that I would have had in the AFC Championship going into week one. After week one, I'm a little skeptical now looking at the Bengals and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Bengals were probably the biggest disappointment of week one. I think we can both agree on that.
Absolutely.
And the Chiefs, I mean, they looked like the Chiefs. They played a very good Ravens team and won the game. We can't say much about that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And they're staying at home. These Cincinnati fans, they like to say that they've taken residency, or Joe Burrow has, at least calling Arrowhead Burrowhead. And I think that ever since that, Kansas City has really taken that personally, and they've gone out and they've handled their business against the Cincinnati Bengals team. I got the Chiefs winning big here. They're 5.5 point favorites. I think they cover and beat Joe Burrow.
there was a time where the Bengals used to sneak up on the Chiefs. That's not happening this week.
Yeah.
I got Kansas City.
All right. Moving on, we got Sunday night matchup here: Bears and Texans. These are kind of the new kids on the block per se. We got number one overall pick Caleb Williams, and this new look Chicago Bear offense that, like you said, did not put up a single touchdown. Um, Going on the road to face the reigning rookie of the year in CJ Stroud.
Yeah, this one should be entertaining, right? We have two young guns at QB, like you said. I personally am hoping for a shootout in prime time, which I know doesn't happen a lot, but I would just love to see these two teams going at it offensively. I actually like Chicago keeping it close. I think Houston wins the game, but I think Caleb Williams impresses and Chicago keeps it close and they cover.
Yeah, I actually do like the Bears to cover here at 6.5. That is a pretty sizable spread. I like them to cover the spread, but not because of the offense. I think I liked a lot I liked what I saw
They're,
out of the Bears defense a lot. Um, I still don't believe in Caleb Williams. I've been saying I'm not a believer in Caleb Williams. He hasn't shown me anything that proves otherwise. I think that the Bears defense, on the other hand, and I watched Hard Knocks this year, that Bears defense is legit. I got the Bears keeping this one close, but I do think Houston ultimately is going to win this one, and it's going to come down to the quarterback play. All right. And now that is going to bring us to our closing game, wrapping up week two. We got Monday night. We got Atlanta going on the road into Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia playing the Eagles.
Yeah, you got Kirk Cousins who looked like, I mean, I like Kirk Cousins. I'm really not saying this
Yeah,
in a bad
love
way,
Kirk Cousins
but he
as
looked like
a
a
person.
statue in week one against the
Yeah.
Steelers. And I don't want to overreact to that. I want to see it one more week. But if he looks a little bit how he did in week one, don't be surprised if you see Penix starting soon here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that Penix starting is definitely something that is not off the table this year. Obviously you give Kurt a contract and you expect him to go out and play well, but at the end of the day, if he's not, you drafted this guy as your number one pick for a reason, ultimately to take the reins. So I think that it's not completely off the books that Penix starts at some point this year if Kirk Cousins continues to play the way that he looked week one.
wouldn't that offense be fun to watch with
It
Michael
would.
Penix in
It
there?
would. Um, Looking over at this week though, looking at Philadelphia, who Philadelphia is coming off a big win. Um, yeah, man. I don't know. These on paper, these are two very good teams. These are two teams that should be very competitive down the road in the NFC on paper. Monday night prime time. That's the key. Kirk Cousins in prime time and time again, has proved that he can't get it done. And that's why I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to take this one at home.
Yeah, the Eagles are winning this one. I don't matter who the Falcons play or who the Vikings were playing. If Kirk Cousins was playing on primetime, you got to pick the other team. It's that simple. And let's not forget how good the Eagles looked against like Saquon looked like an offensive
Yeah,
player of the
my
year.
Saquon, I think right now, if the season ended, would be offensive player of the year. Yeah, I think if he can even remotely put numbers up like what he did week one, like he might have almost a 25, 2,600, like they're not 25, 26, but like a 15, 1,600 yard season on the ground and
Yeah.
20 plus touchdowns. So I loved what I saw out of Philadelphia's offense. I think it's everything that Philadelphia fans hoped and dreamed it would be as soon as they saw that they signed Saquon. Um, yeah, I'm hopeful for Philadelphia this year. I got them winning this Monday night matchup.
Yes, sir. I couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, so that's gonna wrap up all of our games here for week two. We covered everybody. Is there anything that you want to touch on before we wrap this thing up?
You want to do one lock and dog real quick?
Yeah. So, well, I'll let you go first. Who is your lock of the week?
My lock of the week is is the LA Rams in Arizona. Give me the Rams. They're winning this week. I know Puka's hurt, but they're winning this week.
All right, and then my dog of the week. We're gonna go. We're going with the Tampa Bay Bucks, baby. Come on, Baker. Baker, keep baking. They're going on the road in Detroit. They're handling business. Bucks to the Super Bowl. All right.
Okay, okay, I like it.
All right. With all that said, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, and make sure to stay tuned for our week 3 next week. All right. Appreciate y'all stopping by. This is Smooth Players Podcast signing off.